Hello everyone, my name is Taylor. I am a English teacher coming to Thailand to teach English, and I know that there's been a lot of confusion with kind of getting into Thailand right now, so I wanted to give you my experience on getting into Thailand. Not to say that this is going to be everyone's experience, but I know that it would have been really helpful if I had had someone to kind of guide me along instead of kind of blindly going through it. So I thought this might be helpful for someone. I hope it is. I have my little notepad to try and keep track of everything, but here goes. So the first thing you should definitely do is to find out who your embassy is. So I'm from South Carolina, so I was able to use the DC embassy, which conveniently has the online application form to submit for the certificate of entry and for the non-immigrant B visa. I believe LA is the other embassy that has this ability. My recommendation is to try to somehow find a way to go through one of these sites or one of these embassies that allows you to upload all of your documents online, because there's a lot of room for error, and being able to fix things via an online portal is a lot easier than having to mail things back and forth over and over again. Now, from what I've heard from a couple people, they've actually been allowed to go to the online application regardless of where they're from and upload their stuff. But I know at the time I was actually living in Pennsylvania, so I tried to apply stating that my state of residency was Pennsylvania, and I was not allowed to do so. So maybe it's changed in the past couple of weeks, but from my experience, your state of residency has to match with your consulate. So just make sure that you are applying in the right place. But if you have to maybe put your address as a family's address who might be actually within a certain embassy's state lines, maybe that would be something to consider. So anyways, go find your embassy. I'm a non-immigrant B visa type because I'm a teacher. So once you've gotten all your documents prepared from your school, and this would probably include your contract and your invitation letter, you can go ahead and start getting ready. I will say this, there is a requirement for a work permit with the Thai embassy's documents. I didn't have a work permit, however my school submitted all of my documents to the MFA, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs somehow got my name onto a list, and that list was sent to each individual embassy. So my name was on this list. It said that I'm a teacher allowed into Thailand even without a work permit. All I did to find out if my name was on that list was to first see if my school had sent it over to the MFA, and then second, once I clarified that they did, reach out to the embassy and see if my name was on that list. I emailed the embassy, they said yes, your name's on the list, and then I knew that I was good to go. So anyways, once that has been done, your invitation letter, your contract, and your MFA list, you're going to want to go ahead and buy all of your things. So the first thing you're going to have to buy is your flight booking. So I booked with Hana Tour, which is the Korean Air, and I think Asiana too. So I booked through them. They book your seat and give you like proof that you've booked, but they do not actually make you pay until you've gotten clearance from the Thai embassy. So I know that they do that. I don't know if other airlines do that. I just know that Asiana and Korean Air does. So I would recommend trying to see if you can book without actually paying until you get your COE. So once you've gotten your flight booked, then it's the hard part, and you have to find your hotel. So alternative state quarantine hotels the best way to do it is just message as many within your budget as you can. I messaged probably 15. Of those 15, only a couple got back to me within the deadline that I needed, and one was the perfect fit for me, which is O2 Luxury Hotel. It was 38,000 baht, which translates to just about $1,200, $1,200 to $1,500. So it was affordable. It had good reviews, and they got back to me within like an hour of sending them an email. So, airplane, ASQ, the last thing is your COVID insurance. So you want to make sure you have health insurance that covers you up to $100,000 in medical expenses, inclusive of COVID-19. So it has to say that. It has to say that it includes COVID-19. The insurance that I used was Seven Corners. I'm 26 years old, so my pay was a little bit less than people who are older, a little bit more than people who are younger. But my price was really good. I want to say I paid like $300, $400 for the entire year. So maybe look into that. I'm not really sure what the changes are as you get older. I do know it gets more expensive, but I don't know what that number is. So once you have those three things, you're going to go on the Thai visa website, or the Thai website for the embassy, and you're going to submit all of your documents for your visa and COE. So your non-immigrant B visa, it's going to be the exact same thing that you always have had to do. Your contract, your bank statements proving that you have a certain amount of money, all this can be found in the embassy. I don't know them off the top of my head. So you'll want to upload all that information. And then for your COE, you'll have to upload a bunch of documents onto the website. So when you go to the Thai embassy under consular services, there'll be a drop-down menu that says visas and COE. So you are going to want to click on that and go through all of the pages, uploading all of your information. Okay, so the next part that I want to talk about is you've gotten all of your stuff sent. Before I forget, once you've uploaded that, they get back to you within about 48 hours and they ask you to mail all of your stuff, including your passport, all copies of everything you need for your non-B, and everything for your COE. So you get all of that and put it into a envelope, and you get a second envelope for a return, and then you send that to the embassy. Just so you're aware, I sent via USPS, which is what the embassy website recommends, and mine got lost. I was in Pennsylvania. The Philly sorting distribution center is completely overwhelmed, and my passport and all of my documents disappeared for like 3 weeks, and I had to wait until it showed up in DC at the embassy. Luckily, it did show up, and I got in touch with the embassy and asked them to hold that, and I would send them another return envelope from UPS, and could they please send it via UPS, and I one day mailed it from UPS back. So don't forget that, don't forget, just make sure you're aware that there might be some holdups with USPS. Do your research to see kind of what people are saying about your area, and maybe consider going to UPS instead, so you don't get stuck like I did. It's not fun. So the last thing I want to talk about is leading up to my flight. There are a couple of things you have to do. You have to get a rapid test that's negative that results within 72 hours. So I just want to clarify that for the DC embassy, the results are from the time that they are read, not the time that they are taken. So just make sure you're aware of that. So to get the PCR test, I went to 2 different clinics because I was afraid that, sorry, my camera's freaking out. The PCR tests had a long wait. Sometimes they were quoted as like 5 to 10 days, and then sometimes they were quoted as like a day. So I was really nervous about just like leaving it to chance. So I went to two different clinics. The first one was the Minute Clinic with CVS, and it resulted within 3 days. I don't remember the exact date, but I believe it was 3 days. So the caveat with the Minute Clinic was that they did not give me a read time. So the only thing I had was the date collected, and the date collected was outside of my window. So those results, I couldn't use them. They're free, so I didn't lose any money, but I couldn't use them. So maybe if you're wanting to do that, calling them and talking to them and explaining what you need them for, and making sure it has a date read on them. I'm pretty sure they do it, but I didn't realize it until I got to the airport, so it was a moot point for me. And the second one, I went to a place called AFC Urgent Care, who sends their results to LabCorp, and it resulted within 48 hours, and the result had a date read on the sheet. So I had no problems with that. A lot of people were really worried that it didn't have PCR on it. It just said nucleic acid test, but I just want to clarify that even though it doesn't say PCR on it, they know it's PCR. So you're fine, you don't have to worry about that. If you read the huge block of summary, it says that it is done by way of PCR and one other way. So don't stress about that, you're fine. So I got that 3 days before I left. I was leaving on Wednesday, so I got my tests, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, so I made sure I had one that would result in time. It was honestly not a problem. I live in Pennsylvania. There weren't really any kind of waits. I had no issues getting those COVID tests, and I had no issues getting the results. It's not to say it's everywhere. Pennsylvania is a pretty well-funded state, so they probably have more tests than, say, my hometown of South Carolina. So just know what that might look like for your state that you're from when you get your tests. And then my Fit to Fly, there's actually a bunch of different ways you can do this. I actually had a doctor that I had seen who would do a telemedicine visit with me. Sorry about my camera. The telemedicine visit was really quick, really easy, and they signed off on my sheet. I'll post the sheet that I used, and it was really simple. I picked it up from the office and then I went on my way. There are a couple different links that I'll put in my description box that people have used to go that are online doctors that if you don't have a primary care doctor, these might be helpful for you. They specialize in travel, so they know what they're doing. So that's another option. And I think that's all. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help. Just send me a question via YouTube, and I'll do whatever I can to give you some more information. I know this is kind of a trying time for everyone, so if you are struggling with anything, just let me know, and I'll do my best to kind of find information for you. I will be showing you my room at the O2 Luxury Hotel. If you're interested, this is the cheapest option because I am broke. So if you want to see that, you can subscribe to my channel or check back in a couple of days. It should be up pretty soon. So I wish you all good luck. You can do it. You'll get there eventually. And I hope this was helpful to you. All right. Bye.